This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and today I've got news for you. 10 stories in the queue from the weekend that were vetted by you as conversation and pop culture news. In the news today, 50 Cent is doing big things, doing big business things, suing people, of course. NBA Inside Stuff is back in the news and back in the Hall of Fame stature. And we'll talk about Lieutenant Dan, not that Lieutenant Dan, but some other Lieutenant Dan, which gets less confusing once I get to that one. Plus, we have 7 of those stories that you deemed as conversational. We'll explain the vetting process as we go along through this thing. Plus, give you some more fun things along the way. So stay tuned for everything we have. Remind you right now that our website is thisisaconversationproject.com, our online home for everything. Find out more about how we do things and the value you get from what we do and all in total. Plus, you can email us with all the value or all the complaints you want to at the conversation inbox, say that nice and clear, at gmail.com. As I said, 10 stories this morning, no particular order as they're being presented. If I've not said so yet, today happens to be Monday, October the 14th, 2024. Let's get into the headlines for the day. As I said, no particular order, but we'll give some context on how they got to where they were throughout the show. Story number one, headline number one, big story number one, very big story is the U.S. is going to deploy about 100 troops to operate advanced anti-missile systems in Israel amid the heightened tensions. So the United States is sending about 100 troops approximately to Israel to operate what's called the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Missile Defense System, or THAAD. This move comes amid escalating tensions in the region, particularly as responses to ongoing conflicts with Gaza and potential threats from Iran and Hezbollah. The THAAD system is designed to intercept and destroy short, medium, and intermediate range ballistic missiles. That's a whole lot of work for that. Adding to a significant layer of defense that Israel is having to its existing capabilities. This marks a notable military response for the U.S. and tensions are rising at the moment. Now, for the THAAD system, they're essentially insider was on the news of the weekend talking about the THAAD systems. There's essentially 6 batteries of these things out there, and we're giving one to Israel, which means it's a really big deal, and sending troops to actually operate it, which is a really big deal. As I had in a conversation yesterday, oddly enough, with my barber on World Affairs, because I have a very smart barber, it's very interesting how things are going on in these areas where people should be wanting to not fight each other and have some sense of peace. But it all seems like everybody wants to fight and not have peace. They want to conquer someone to take over something. Or in Israel's defense, they're trying to defend themselves, but it looks a lot like conquering to defend people. It's an interesting situation over there, and we're doing what we can to keep the peace and keep our beloved ally Israel safe. This may get a lot hotter a lot sooner than we really want it to be. Story number 2. We go back to the 90s and Inside Stuff, NBA Inside Stuff. It is the show that all of us of my generation loved as a kid because before there was the social media, there was Saturday mornings, and that's where you got all your clips of Shaq doing funny stuff. And Inside Stuff is getting the Basketball Hall of Fame treatment, the iconic show from the 90s for engaging youth-focused takes on basketball, set to receive that Hall of Fame recognition, hosted by Ahmad Rashad and Willow Bay, plus other female hosts as well. Brought fans behind-the-scenes content and spotlight personalities, NBA personalities off the court. The show has been named the recipient of the Basketball Hall of Fame 2004 Kurt Gowdy Media Award, recognized his contributions to making NBA more accessible and popular with wider audiences, particularly younger fans back in the day. It was a staple of Saturday morning TV shows after the cartoons came stuff like Inside Stuff and what's now that enlightening television, that stuff that's usually animals or science stuff. This was the original kicker off those things. And this was before we had Saved by the Bell. So we would stay and watch the cartoons and then watch Ahmad Rashad do something silly with Shaq or Jordan or something like that in those days. Congratulations to the show and all the folks coming back to relive the great 90s. Walk with me for this one for a bit, because this one may get a little people's dander up. This was a highly engaging story of the weekend, and on a weekend where we'll explain towards the end how we spent the week off and how that week was there. We sort of had to just go along with the stories that people were going with, not so much any actual engaging stuff. This was posted more or less to fill space, and it filled a lot of space in your heads, rent free apparently. The headline for number 3. MSNBC analyst says male Trump voters and Joe Rogan listeners are, quote, in crisis and also, quote, need therapy. Now, this is from MSNBC analyst Mara Gay, who also is a member of the New York Times editorial board. So she has those gravitas behind her. And she recently commented on MSNBC on Morning Joe, I believe, that the male voters that are following Trump and the people who listen to Joe Rogan, as they kind of are the same group together, are in crisis. May need therapy. They need some. They have issues to be worked out. It's just that Trump's strong polling among men reflect a broader issue that describes it as a sign of societal distress. The remarks sparked discussions about the mental health and motivations of certain voter groups, particularly those who align with more populist or alternative viewpoints in American media and politics. They emphasized the need for understanding the deeper concerns of these demographics. So she wasn't quite bashing, although she was, but this is an actual deep issue. If you follow this show here, if you've been following politics for a while, been listening to essentially all sides of the issue, especially right now, so digging deeper into the demographics and the gender gap in getting voters right now. There are issues with the voters and how people see things. There's also been a long-standing issue with a quote unquote the war on men, or the issue with men, or the tragedy of men, red pill, blue pills, things like that, and what young men are getting into and not getting into, and as Scott Gallo would say, not getting into women and sex a lot. So there are some issues and some underlying things that men, young men, are in need of. However, Mara Gay may be the wrong messenger for this message, or may have a message that is, let's say, a bit leading on her end. If you have comments on this one, shoot them out to me. Send me them in this email. Send me them to me in the email, or email me. Respond back in the video. You don't email the video. Reply to the video with your comments, and we'll go deeper into this one. This is a very interesting one because there is a series of issues for men, young men in particular, and men in general, who seems to be falling for, and I say that in my own event, the populist message of Donald Trump for a reason. They're not stupid. They're not idiots. They have reasons for going along with what's happening, what's being put out for them. Some of the underlying reasons why, maybe crisis, maybe therapy, maybe something else. Man who needs no issues, no problems. He's got things going on, and he's not, except for some business issues, which we're talking about today here, as story number 4 tells us about the headline we have from the weekend. 50 Cent has filed a $5 million trademark infringement lawsuit against popular jeweler TraxNYC over knockoff chains. 50 Cent filed this lawsuit, $5 million, against TraxNYC, the New York State jailer, owned by Masood Ajajani, for trademark infringement. The rapper, of course, known as Curtis Jackson by his mama, alleges that the jeweler used his likeness and name to sell knockoff chains resembling his famous cross pendant. 50 Cent claims that TraxNYC's action violated his right to publicity and misappropriated his likeness for commercial gain, particularly on platforms like TikTok, where the jeweler advertised the imitation jewelry. The lawsuit seeks compensation for damages caused by these actions. Damages on top of actual money lost or gained by the jeweler, which is why it's at a $5 million import. I'm not sure how TraxNYC actually made $5 million on the gadgets. We shall see. One thing we know about 50 Cent is being an extremely talented person, extremely smart person, and very savvy in the world of media, entertainment, and business. He knows how to get things done, how to make new money, and how to take old money that was stolen from him and get it back, and without throwing fists like we knew back in the day. 50 Cent has a pretty good case on this one. We'll keep an eye on it and let you know how this one plays out in the courts of public opinion and on the actual courts in trial. Number 5 this morning, Boeing will lay off 10% of its employees as a strike by factory workers cripples airplane production. Of all the strikes that are going on or been suspended or happening right now, Boeing's strike is still going strong as an actual strike. Boeing is trying to save face, save money, save itself. It will lay off approximately 10% of its workforce due to the strike by factory workers that has severely impacted airplane production. The strike has halted production of key models, especially the 737 MAX, the top selling aircraft, also the 777 and 767 models. However, production of the 787 is actually continuing. So they're still building to full capacity, more or less, one plane, but bigger planes or planes with more value for the market are not being done. Layoffs come as Boeing faces significant financial and operational struggles amidst the disruption caused by this strike. Pause for a moment Story number 5 done, 6 through 10 on the way. But first, I want to give you a chance to like us, subscribe to us, and share our work. I want to remind you about this right now because we are a small channel. We have right now, I'm looking over to my left, under 1,500 subscribers on YouTube itself as I'm watching the stream on my playback over here, and less than that in other platforms. We thought we were growing on TikTok, and we hit some of this, some of the wall. We thought we were doing some things on Threads, and Threads is kind of we're still doing our X thing and have a lot of traffic through X. But what we don't have is the love support to have a large channel. And so we need your help to get us there. If you're watching this with us live as we put this out at about 5:42 in the morning or on a replay anytime down the line, we're looking for you to help us share the love of the Conversation Project and our product. Like these videos, like the audios, like other newsletters we have out there so more people see what there is to like and love. Share it with other folks directly so they'll be more likely to watch it. Share it with more news nerds who are into the first stories, not just the main headlines, not just stuck on the main things, but more things that are more interesting, things that get missed, and things that are also a bit more intricate that need more discussion. And subscribe to our work so you don't miss out on it. We're not even asking you for notifications. Just subscribe as you check your feeds every so often, see what we have going out there, and see what's up there. Every single video we know is not going to be a banger. Every single video is not going to be something you're going to check out. But if you're in for early news checks in the morning, we have them for you right here with Conversation Projects, things you might not have heard. So get it every single day with you, every single weekday, you'd say, via YouTube, via Facebook, when Facebook cooperates, via X and other platforms. Like, share, and subscribe to help us gain more followers and help them join in the cause. 2 words, don't go slow together. Next story, much better. Well, it's not a great story. Lieutenant Dan is now being exposed as a fraud who uses 4 different names and has conned people out of their money with a sneaky GoFundMe. Lieutenant Dan is a TikTok personality who gained attention for surviving Hurricane Milton out in a boat. He is now being exposed as a fraud, as many of these people are. Allegations have emerged that he uses multiple aliases and has scammed people out of money through a GoFundMe campaign titled Support Lieutenant Dan's Seafaring Dreams. GoFundMe fundraiser created to support his supposed nautical ambitions raised a lot of money, but it's come to light that the individual behind the campaign has a history of using fake identities to con others out of lots of money. Despite the controversy, some supporters argue that his past should not define him now, while others remain pretty steadfast as they want some accountability. Probably want their money back. Update on the Sean Combs story. A trial date set for Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking case. We now have a date for the trial. The music mogul is scheduled to face trial on May 5th, 2025 for federal sex trafficking charges. Charges allege that Combs was involved in a large-scale criminal operation, including sex trafficking and racketeering. That is 2 pretty big things, along with the large operation, which makes it even worse. The trial will take place in New York, where more possible charges could arise as the case unfolds. Yes, more people are coming into light with more sexual allegations, and there may come up more charges in this case specifically when they open up more things in the books. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges, currently being held without bail following his arrest. The case has garnered significant attention due to Combs' high-profile status in the entertainment industry. A lot of people want to see how this one is playing out in the wake of things like Weinstein. Here's a boring story that's a bit more important than you might think. So I want to make sure this one's in the back of your mind there. The Internet Archive is under attack with a breach revealing info for 31 million accounts. The Internet Archive, known for its Wayback Machine, has suffered a major data breach impacting over 31 million user accounts. The breach resulted in attackers obtaining email addresses and hashed passwords for a 6.4 gigabyte file containing user data. That's a lot. In addition to the site, the site has also been hit with distributed denial of service attacks, causing further disruptions, i.e. you can't get into it and do anything, and it's taking your data in the process. Breach is significant with many users' information is now exposed. Internet Archive is working to address its security flaws. To my knowledge, there's been no updates on how to find out if your data has been exposed. Use Internet Archive at some point in time over the past 20 years. It's been live. I'm sure you've gone to the Wayback Machine and looked at older websites. Excuse me. Maybe you have an account set up and you just look into it in random cases. But This is something that's very serious for one part of the whole security breach part, where A, if your data is out there, it's out there, and B, the attack on the actual archive to get information, because there's so many places where we're losing information from the past and the internet. That's becoming extremely sad in many cases. It's Monday, so we get 2 bonus stories because of the weekend. Want more time to pull, some more stories to pull from. We give you story number 9 this morning, and that is Minnesota twins to be put up for sale by Pohlad family. The Pohlad family, owners of the Minnesota Twins for 40 years, have announced plans to explore the sale of the Major League Baseball team. The decision was revealed by Twins executive Joe Pohlad, chair of the executive board. The family explained that they are seeking new ownership for the franchise. They have enlisted the services of an investment banker, Allen and Company, to manage the sale if it happens. The decision comes as a surprise to fans in the baseball community after decades of family ownership. I'm not sure there will be a reason behind it. They haven't really explained it, other than the fact that, it might be time to get out of the baseball business. Baseball is seeing a resurgence, and the Twins themselves are seeing a big chance of big money. So it might be a good chance for the family to go ahead and cash out of it. The younger members may not want to do baseball anymore. The older members may not want to be in the business, want to kind of pack cash out. You can speculate how and why, but we do know the Twins are up for sale. We'll see whether that sale will go through anytime soon. And finally, if you'd ever wanted a kicker story, here's one you can really kick around. If you're watching the video, you're seeing this picture of a snowed-in candle, but provided by Bath and Body Works, with a intricate snowflake design, just like the ones you use to go to school and cut up, chop up, and you open it up, fold it a piece of paper, cut it up, and you have a snowflake. Well, here's the problem. Headline sort of sums it up. Bath and Body Works pulls holiday candle after KKK comparisons. Here's the story. Bath and Body Works has apologized and pulled a holiday-themed candle from its stores after criticism over its resemblance to a Ku Klux Klan hood. The candle, part of the snowed-in collection, was criticized by social media users for featuring a design that resembled the KKK's white hood attire. After the controversy, the company quickly responded by removing the product from the shelves and issuing a formal apology, acknowledging the unintended resemblance and that offense that it caused. Now, sometimes things get overlooked. Things get kind of passed off without any thoughts. But how someone didn't look at this candle and say, why does those look like big old white masks? Or why do the pointy heads look like hoods? Yes, you can see it's a snowflake, but why there are dots in the middle of the eyes with snowflakes, I don't know. This wasn't my decision, but now we know the snowed-in candle, at least this version, although they're probably going to just pull them back and wrap them with something else, is going to be gone for a bit. If you're looking for whatever flavor, whatever scent this was, it's going to be in high demand. And if you actually got one of these, I'm pretty sure the eBay second market is pretty hot. Pretty hot, I would think. Let's go to our teaser story for this morning. This is a story that is going to help us explain how we get our stories in the Conversation Project, how we actually get to where we are, and how things work around here. Our teaser story for the day is a headline. Probably won't last throughout the day, but we're going to give it a shot. We're teasing the story with the headline that is, new study reveals that Gen Z would rather be models than doctors. If you have been following social media, the TikToks, the Instagrams, or have a kid, you probably understand this, you probably see this, where more children, more young people have the goal of being a TikTok or YouTube creator, influencer, than being a fireman or policeman or a doctor, things like that. The new study shows that the younger kids are seeing all their media on the internet, so they want to be models, as they see people doing Instagram models and doing lip stuff and hand stuff, as opposed to being doctors. This is nothing new, because most young people want to be something more famous than they want to be something more steady. When I was a kid, I wanted to play basketball, be a fake internet news person. But it is what it is. If you like this story and think this is worthy of more conversation, more chit chat, more of a update, engage in it. Go through our feeds on Facebook, on X, and on Threads. Yeah, we're on Threads. Threads.net/@thisisconversation, x.com/th_conversation, and at Facebook, facebook.com/thisisconversation project. What you see at those places, about every 50 minutes or so, are news headlines from various sources for you to engage in. You engage with them. You tell us what stories are awesome, what stories are not so awesome, what stories need more talk about because you like them, what stories just kind of irk you. You want to get mad at them. You engage in stories. The higher a story gets engagement by its likes, by its comments, by its shares, you have a better chance of talking about it. On this Monday, we took Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and a little bit Monday stories. We gave them to you, 10 of them over the past weekend. We gave you the top 30. We looked at those stories for about 90 or so stories and gave them to you here. The rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, we'll take 8 stories into the story feed. They'll come from the top 15 or so stories from 30 in a day, and that's how it happens. So engage in the stories so we know what stories you want to talk about. It's a conversation. It's not just a monologue, although it seems like it, but it's a conversation. So conversate with us by communicating with us with comments, and of course, letting us know what stories are worthy of the chit chat. Let's go to our spotlight sponsor for today. It is the Blinkist app. And I want you to know that there is time to read more books. You may not feel like there's enough time to read all the books you want, but hey, Blinkist can make that happen. Key insights from over 6,500 best-selling nonfiction books. You can get them in 50 minutes in some cases. Blinkist condenses books into bite-sized summaries called Blink, and they're perfect for people on the go or people who are just sitting around with little to do. You find free time and open up a book. You can read it or you can listen to it in an audiobook fashion. Whether you're commuting, you're taking a break, or just winding down, that lets you learn anywhere, anytime with Blinkist. Personal development stories, science books, history. Blinkist has something for everyone. Audio and text options. You can read and listen at key ideas anytime you want to from top books. And they're adding books all the time. Those new books that you're seeing popping up on TV or seeing in your Amazon list, Blinkist probably has it coming fairly soon. They'll get it quickly. And you can get discounts when you buy your books through Amazon through Blinkist. So that happens there. Plus, you get a 6% discount on premium subscriptions right now. So it's never been easier to unlock potential to join this group. Use our link, which is an affiliate link. We get a small commission from your joining by going to thisistheconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. BLINKIST. You can get a chance to read more books, all the books you think you'd have time for. You can check them out here using Blinkist. As a news nerd, you come to things like this to get updates on news that are quick and easy and kind of give you what you need to and move on. Same thing with Blinkist. Blinkist is something I use every day. I go to bed with it. I go to work with it. I listen to Blinkist here and there when I have time at work. So I knock out a book. I knocked out 3 books last night as I was just sort of lounging around. 320 I had an hour's worth of time, and 3 20-minute books took an hour, and it was interesting to get those feeds and things I got caught up on. So you can catch up as well using the Blinkist app. We want you to join us in talking about us, celebrating us, being one of us, being a part of the Conversation Project. Conversation Project lives online at this. It's conversationproject.com. And we've said it a few times. We talked about what we do and how we do things. Go to our website and look for some more things on how we do and what we do for things. We have updates or archives of older shows and older content we created. We have how we created stuff, why behind everything. We have links to sponsors and links to our partnership stuff to help keep things going. But what we have is a community of people, we call them news nerds, who are really into news issues and news stories, and not just being told what to think, what to read, what to see. That's why we give you 50-minute stories, or 50 minutes we give you stories for you to engage and tell us what stories are the top ones. And yeah, we may get one that you don't like out there, and you may skip it. We may get some out there on the news feed that we don't think might not think it should have been a 10 story today, which maybe came out 11 or 12 in the rankings. Let us know. Communicate with us. Email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com and let us know what to do. We read all the emails so we get all the details we can from you guys. We also talk with our partners who help to feed us the things we need to do to get things done for the week in our work here. So check out our partnership page. Check out everything's there. And there you have it. We have the show for the day. This has been the Conversation Projects. Things you might have heard for Monday, October 14th, 2024. Thanks so much for being with us. Join us every day here live about 5:30 in the morning or whenever you want to check it out, and engage with us as you need to here. We'd love to meet it, and we'll do this again tomorrow morning for the Conversation Projects. Things you might not have heard